was thinking of something fun and exciting and zany to say, but nothing comes to mind. Usually I'm pretty stoked opening some Zendikar product, but well, there's none. As you guys probably have heard through the wonders of the Twitterverse or the Wizards website or from your local retailer, Zendikar's had some really bad distribution / printing errors. Of course, they're going to blame COVID and it's all their fault, this and the other. Okay, sure, we get it. Things shut down, the world stopped, people got sick. Feel bad for that. However, then explain to me how come there's not printing errors on the secret layers that are coming out in perpetuity and right on time as scheduled as announced. I mean, I can understand that it's a limited thing. You don't have to print as many cards because you're only printing, well, like 2,000 or whatever it is. There's only 5 cards, so it's only printing maybe 10,000 cards. Okay, I get that, but it's not really a good look when you're pumping out product that sells directly from Wizards to customers, yet the standard legal sets or even the Jumpstart that had major issues, and Double Masters to an extent, which has had some of its own issues. People can't get that in at the retailer level, or at the distribution level, and I don't think it's really a good look. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Walking Dead. That was one of our big sellers when we were selling the funny picture books. You know, Josh and I are both very excited about the Secret Lair in a vacuum. I think it's pretty cool. But again, like I said, I just don't think it's a good look that we can have this stuff come out, but yet we can't even get our hands on the set that just came out just a few weeks ago. It's not even like, it's a weird thing that happens at the retail level. I want to give you some insight before we go too much further into this. That's why we push pre-selling as hard as we do at the store. If you guys come in, then you know that when a set comes out, we ask people, do you want to pre-order a box, want to get a case, how many do you want? Because we're allocated so many boxes per set based on our WPN number. Now, I spoke about it a little bit in the previous video where the WPN dictates allocations and all that, which makes sense. Unfortunately, they kind of took a screenshot or snapshot, I guess they called it, back in February when we were both, and granted, I mean, this is our specific situation, it's not everyone's situation, was when we were still doing comics, not focusing as much on the card games. And so if they were to see it now, assuming that the world was normal, we'd probably be at much higher standing. So so you're going to see some issues for the common small LGS when a set comes out, getting stuff back in stock. It's just kind of what happens because there's always going to be very high demand for a hot new set. So with that in mind, we're given an allocation number of the regular draft boxes, the collector's boosters, the set boosters, all those things, and the booster bundle fat pack things. Josh is patiently awaiting his, which I will not be doing a video for that because Josh made it more clear he does not want to be opening his stuff on a video without permission. So there goes that. But anywho, when we're only able to get the draft boosters and a good chunk of them, but not all of them, it kind of puts us behind the 8 ball. It kind of eliminates the possibility of us opening a lot of stuff because there's less people to pull from who'd be interested in sharing their box experience with us and us allowing us to share it with you. So we'll probably be cutting back some of the videos because there's not going to be enough products available for us not only to maintain our normal level of stock, but also being able to do the videos you guys have been thumbs upping because it's me doing the videos, not Steve. I have to do at least once a video where I make fun of Steve. His videos actually have been getting a lot better positive reaction recently. I think the inclusion of Bob was a huge ad. So I think that may have done it. So, and I think everyone double thumbs downing has really helped to kind of really boost those thumbs up, I think. Anyway, So I digress. So, like I said, we're not able to get the collector's boxes the way we're hoping for. The set boosters, we have not gotten whatsoever. Frankly, it sucks. I get that they want to keep it going with the secret layer stuff. That's fine and dandy, but I just don't really think it's that great of a look that you're able to pump out your supplemental product that really, in the grand scheme of things, really means nothing. And yet you can't keep the thing that's keeping the game afloat, keeping people interested and invested. And I just don't think it's good for people who are looking to getting into the retail world of doing this. For people who want to go back to paper magic, it makes it a lot harder to keep a vested interest because it just does not look promising that Wizards can't get their stuff together. And I know that they print 2 or 3 sets ahead, so you'd think they would have had more than enough time to figure out what their plan was going to be, or even if they had to delay it, I think that would have been a much better solution than just pumping out what they had and saying, oh, well, that's all we got, I swear. Oh, by the way, check it out. Glenn's back. He's not bashed in the face by Negan's Lucille bat. He's a human advisor now, and then look at his cool token. Oh, yeah, the other stuff you guys wanted? Yeah, we can't. We can't print that, I swear. COVID happened. It's just ridiculous. Actually, Bob just joined us. I was actually going to touch on the banning of Euro or URO, or whatever I want to say.
Sure.
So I'm not really up on the meta as much. I feel like this might be the appropriate video to maybe touch on the Sentiment Contest, bashing the whole field here, so to speak, in terms of what's happening in the world of the Magic. What are your thoughts on the banning of Euro? Was it the right call? Do you think other moves should have been made in addition to it? Was it single-handedly ruining the format? What are your
Doesn't do anything. 4-color Omnath is busted. You can still get Omnath out on turn 3. You can still get Ugin out on Ugin or the Ultimatum out on turn 4 with the Lotus Cobra. It's just that Oro's the oldest card and he's not going to sell new packs, but they're not going to ban Omnath or Lotus Cobra because they need to sell new packs.
I mean, that didn't stop them from banning half of Ikoria literally a month after it came out.
Well, first of all, it was a month after they came out. Zendikar is only really technically, a week out now?
Something like that, yeah. But...
And they didn't ban Companion, they just changed the way it works. Now,
Correct.
You can argue whether that change functionally made them useless, but, I don't know. But Oro's not the problem in the deck. Oro stops Sultai Control, but you look at the top decks, and Sultai Control was not the problem. It was the 4-color Omnath, and 4-color Omnath is 60-some% of the meta on Arena, and like I said, you still can. Oro slowed that deck down.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I guess pro players have a say, maybe not so much in the banning, but maybe the creation and implementation of cards. A, is that accurate? And B, do you think that had any kind of impact whatsoever on the decision making at the R&D level / banning level of Wizards?
So Wizards has part of their design process. They have something called play design. The vision design is the one who comes up with the broad strokes. Set design actually starts putting numbers and putting everything on paper, and then play design starts playing with the cards and starts tweaking the nuts and bolts of it. Play design is almost entirely former pro players, so I'm not surprised that we've had a busted standard since play design. The standard's been busted since. I mean, the number of cards that have been banned in standard is ridiculous. It's been busted for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and play design's been making sets for about the same amount of time. So, stuff like Omnath's a powerful card. Why does it cantrip? Why does it draw you a card when it comes into play? That just seems like some pro player was just like, oh, this card's good and all, but it'd really be great if I get better card advantage and not have to lose a card to cast this busted card. So we got Omnath. We had basically it's something I've been thinking about a lot, and the reason why I have not cared for standard for a while is because there's too many basic rules being broken. You go back to Wilderness Reclamation, lets you untap your lands during your opponent's turn, so you got double the mana. You got some on your turn, some on their turn. Nissa doubled your mana. Fires lets you just completely ignore the mana because you just were able to cast for free something that equaled your land. So you kind of, first of all, doubled your mana, and then second of all, ignored any sort of color restrictions. Teferi, the 3 it basically stopped your opponent from playing half the game since they couldn't cast instants. There's too many cards. Oro lets you draw a card, play a land, gain some life, and then it becomes a big creature afterwards, eventually. Growth Spiral, same thing. There's just so many cards that break fundamental rules of Magic. Even Embercleave. Embercleave just as instant speed for cheap, I get to give something double strike and trample and 1/1 on top of all that. So there's too many doubling effects right now, and it's just double your mana, double your card draw, double your damage. It's just ridiculous.
See, as a CEDH player or former CEDH player, these all sound like wonderful things I could build around, but I think it's a completely different monster though too. Playing a Commander game where there's literally tens of thousands of cards to pull from, where the card pool is should be a lot more limited in Standard, and the things that are breaking the format is now even limiting that card pool even more so.
1 out of 100 chance versus a 4 out of 60 chance. And I mean, even if you're running
true.
tutors in your Commander deck, you still got to put resources into tutoring up your combo pieces. But when you can just run 4 ofs, whatever you want, and you got a 1 in 15 chance of drawing what you need, and you start with 7 cards, you got a 50-50 shot at having a lot of the pieces in your hand. And it's too the cards are too good for how consistent a 60 card deck is.
No, absolutely, and it's really a shame. So it seems like there's a bit of causation and correlation between the timing of the play group versus the potentially downfall of Magic. And too, as we talked about this previously on this channel as well, is that when you have so many card bannings, it almost kind of minimizes the want to risk your personal resources in terms of funding the game and funneling money into the game to get singles that you're now taking a chance you're going to get banned, or you buy cards that aren't going to get banned, and meantime you're getting your ass handed to you because you're playing against people who actually invested the money for the sake of winning some games. So I think Magic's in a very tough spot right now. It's not just because of COVID, it's not just because we're getting away from the tabletop paper format. People are gravitating towards Arena. I think between that, the printing errors, the brokenness of so many cards that Bob just referenced as Standard, I think Magic is in a pretty tough spot. I said before that COVID was not going to be the cause of the death of Magic. I think Magic is going to be the cause of the death of Magic. I think we're looking kind of at the potential downfall of it, where a lot of people are going to start flocking away from the game, unfortunately, and it's really a shame because it is the greatest card game or tabletop game, in my opinion, ever invented.
To be a ray of sunshine there, and I know I just spent the past 10 minutes or whatever dumping on the game, or at least on the format of the game.
No, by far it's the most popular format of the game, or at least it has been historically the most popular format of the game. And
well, Commander is. I mean, Commander is what's going to keep Magic afloat. So, I mean, Standard could die, Modern could die, Pioneer could die, but Commander is going to drive the game, and that's fine. I mean, the fact of the matter is, stuff getting banned isn't as big of a deal on Arena because they give you wild cards to replace your cards. I haven't played any Oro decks, but I happen to have like 2 or 3 Oros in my collection just from opening packs. And, I logged in the other day and boom, I had 3 Mythic wild cards. Yay, just bonus, So.
And that was the thing though, they lose nothing by doing that.
No.
Like if this happened, like we came in and bought 2 or 3 Euros for yourself, or either for your collection, or if you were to play standard deck, I couldn't realistically just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I spent X dollars on these cards, let me replace that with equal value. I could not do that.
In paper, it's a different story, but if.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think because
if Standard's getting driven towards Arena, then it's really not that big a deal. And if we can't play paper Magic anytime in the near future, then I'm not sure. I don't know. I just don't think it's the death of Magic. If like paper Standard dies or if paper Pioneer dies, I'm not sure how much of an effect that has overall. when you have formats like Commander that really is what you're. I mean, half the products this year they put out were centered around Commander, you know. So, and we still have a huge Commander set supposedly, maybe, hopefully, coming out at the end of this year.
No, that's okay, because it'll be allocated 72, and it'll probably get 18. No, but that's the thing. I'm not necessarily writing the eulogy just yet for Magic. I'm not saying that. I do think that this is going to be the downfall of Standard as we know it, though.
It could be. I mean, I've seen some terrible runs in Standard. I've seen Combo Summer. I've seen when Darksteel came out and they had to do an emergency ban on Skull Clamp. But I mean, I've never seen a Standard like this, that so many cards are banned so quickly. There's more cards banned in Standard now than I think have been at any point in Magic's history. I mean, if you're counting the cards that could be legal in Standard and the number of cards that are banned, it's a really bad ratio right now compared to what it has been historically.
And I think it bangs on. I think I should touch on this in the channel previously, but I think it was kind of comical that they decided to ban Teferi a month before rotation, or was it less than a month before rotation? It was shortly before, after people have been complaining about it for so long that it broke the format.
That's not without precedent. The original Zendikar Standard, when Cobblade was the big deck, they banned. I don't remember if it was just Jace Mind Sculptor or also like it was Jace and the core. The
Stoneforge Mystic.
Stoneforge Mystic. Thank you. I had a memory block. They banned those like 2 months before rotation, just to try to shake up the meta, because whatever the set was, the core set that came out, didn't move the needle on the meta one bit. So.
No, I mean, you have a dominating Planeswalker, arguably the best 4-ability Planeswalker of all time, Stoneforge Mystic, and the Hawks plus the Swords was just...
Plus the Swords, plus Gideon.
Yeah.
No, that was a
disgusting deck.
Yeah, I mean, it was the boogeyman of Standard for a while, but I think for Color Omnath looks like it's got more play share right now. I mean, it's still early in the format. Maybe someone will come up with an answer for it, but it's pretty prevalent in the meta. I play it a lot. I play against it a lot. I mean, whenever I queue up.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Thor's set coming out in quarter number 1 will have some answers. Maybe Thor could take on Omnath, who knows. Actually, that's another thing too, as we talked about before, is that they keep stealing from other things, and they just kind of stole Walking Dead too. We added to the list of pop culture things that they've been kind of stealing from. I think that's another factor too, is that they might be running dry on their own original ideas.
We got the Walking Dead crossover. We got the Viking set, which I wonder how many television show references are going to be packed into that.
Well, that or like Thor, Loki, Odin, like the Marvel
stuff too. Yeah.
So either one.
Then we got the Harry Potter set. Then we got the D&D set. Then we got the 2 Twilight sets, because it's vampires versus werewolves. So I mean,
I prefer Vampire Diaries personally over Twilight, which I mean that's not exactly the best argument I could.
You admitted that on camera, so
multiple times at this point. I mean, I think if they're watching this from the video, then they've come to expect it, and they just, for some reason, like us. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Do you guys have any final thoughts before I say see you later and list all the stuff they're supposed to share this to?
Play Commander.
Yep, that's kind of
that's where I'm at right now.
It's funny because what got me into Commander was, well, not just because I like the format, because owning a shop made it a lot easier. If I lost one card, it wasn't that big of a deal. If I had to sell it out, I mean, I could never maintain an actual functioning Standard deck and maintain a store. That just wasn't going to happen. So I am Dalian, and I endorse this message, or approve this message. Yeah, there you go. It's not for politics, I guess, so makes sense. So yeah, thank you again for tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the little bell icon for notifications. Thank you for sharing with your friends and family on OnlyFans, because that's a thing now, I guess, and Twitter, and the MySpace, and the Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm probably missing a few dozen. Who cares? All right, see ya.
San Dimas High School football rules!